Well, hi there. Warm welcome. You're watching Blueprint Explosive Exclusive, and I'm Meghna Dekha. Well, once again, unfortunately, the spotlight is back on the racism debate. Is fair still considered to be lovely in progressive 21st century India, where we talk about how progressive we are, when we talk about how inclusive we have become, how our worldview has been developing? But unfortunately, it seems that our deep-seated intolerance, our deep-seated biases still continue to rule, and you will be shocked to find out at which level that we are talking about. Sample this story. Sharda Muralidharan. She is no ordinary lady. She is Kerala's chief secretary. She has slammed trolls for ridiculing her darker complexion and the colorist barbs that she had been facing at work. They have been comparing her to her husband, who's also, in fact, the former Kerala chief secretary. They compared her and her husband, and they have made very unkind, racist remarks at her. Well, in a post that Sharda has put out, she says the appointment was one of its kind in Kerala to be a chief secretary who succeeds her husband, who was the earlier chief secretary. Speaking about the comment in her complexion, then the lady has expressed that these last 7 months have been a relentless parade of comparisons with her predecessors, challenging the idea that black should be associated with negativity. She actually questions, why should black be vilified? In fact, Ms. Muralidharan, who is going to be joining us here on the show, but she's also asserted that black is the all-pervasive truth of the universe. The comments which sparked off widespread criticism across the political and social quarters. Listen in to some of the voices, and after that I'm going to go straight across to Ms. Muralidharan. I'm going to be asking her about her viral post that black is beautiful. Why she says, I dig black. Watch this first.
Body shaming is very, very common in our country. Especially it is expected from women to be perfect, to be fair. We need to change our outlook and we need to start a dialogue on it, for sure.
കേരളം നമ്മിലെ പുരോഗമന കേരളമാണ് എന്നൊക്കെ നമ്മൾ അഭിമാനിക്കുന്നെങ്കിലും ഒരുപാട് പേരുടെ മനസ്സുകളിൽ യാഥാസ്ഥിതികമായ ചിന്തയാണ്. എന്താണ് കറുപ്പിൻ്റെ കുഴപ്പം? കറുപ്പിന് എന്താ കുറവ്? ഞാൻ പറഞ്ഞില്ല, എൻ്റെ അമ്മയുടെ നിറവും കറുപ്പായിരുന്നു ഞാൻ പറഞ്ഞു.
It is very much unfortunate. See, color is... that is not decided by us. That will be decided by they are opposing the black color. But unfortunately in Kerala, Chief Minister is the first person who opposed this black color, because in his function, in umbrella is not allowed.
Well, quite clearly, racism seems to be very deep-rooted in India. Not just common people, but even with Bollywood stars, they have been at the receiving end of it. Let's show you some of the voices coming in from the biggest stars of Bollywood, known for their talent, known for the work that they have done, their films, but they too have faced racism. Priyanka Chopra, an actor, she's been very vocal about it as well. She said, when I joined the film industry, if you were fair, you were guaranteed work. It wasn't the case with her. She says for darker girls, it was, let's lighten you up. Those are the kind of inherent racist statements which are being made. Sushmita Sen, of course, Miss Universe, an actor, a mother, but she too has faced, despite all her achievements, has faced this racism. She says racism is a long-standing problem in India. Nawazuddin Siddiqui, known for his acting acumen, he has said he's been rejected because of his dark complexion. You have Debendu Banerjee, who is another phenomenal actor, who has said dark actors don't get any positive roles, that they get sidelined and typified into negative roles. So viewers, India seems to be obsessed with lighter skin tone, and the colonial skin tone still seems to be far from over. Let's get you some data, because at the end of it, the numbers really speak for themselves. Watch these numbers that you can see on your screens right now. When it comes to India's obsession for the fair skin, in the woman population of 50 crores, fairness products have been used by 60% women. 60% women have been using fairness products because they've grown up thinking fair is better. Isn't that unfortunate? These are the stats which really speak for themselves. So let me go across to Ms. Muralidharan, because it's important for us to understand what really is it that drove her to write this very heartful post. We will show you the post on your screens. There you have it, where she's called out the colorism. Ms. Muralidharan, thank you so much. I must congratulate you for the post that you have written, because it so very articulately put together what all of us have seen, all of us have faced as well in the past as well. But it's very interesting. You put out that post, but then you deleted it. And then you reposted it, despite the fact that it got thousands of hits. Why did you feel it fit to delete it? And what convinced you to repost it?
Well, I have just very little time left as Chief Secretary, so I wondered whether this was going to get bigger than I intended, and didn't want to, basically ruffle the waters before I left. So at that point of time, I had it withdrawn. And then people said, that it was bigger than just, just my, getting this out of the system. There were larger questions here, and that the fact that the Chief Secretary of the state was in a position to raise those questions might give them traction. So then I thought it was necessary that I come back with the post.
Well, we are all very glad that you have done, and it was a very heartful post. But you said that this is an incident which happened, and then you went on to narrate the incident and how unfair comparisons were made between you and your husband. But can you tell us a bit about the incident? Where did it happen? Who said this? Was it within an office space? Was it within a friend circle? How did all of this happen? Because we are trying to understand who actually spoke like that, and to what extent is this deep-seated bias still there?
Incident per se wasn't a big incident. It was just that someone we both knew, who'd seen both of us at work, made this comment that, made this comment. He was, I guess, trying to be humorous, except that it actually did not quite go that way. I was taken aback by the fact that this whole thing about that my nature of administration was black, like I was.
It's barely a joke.
It was something that came out of the blue.
But I'm asking you that question because I am trying to understand. Was it a bureaucrat? Was it a politician? Because either way, it's very disturbing that at these levels, these are people who are shaping India. These are the people who are going to be charting the roadmap of India. And yet they are being shackled by this colonial mindset, by this sexist mindset, as well as a racist mindset.
No, I have no intention of giving any clue as to who this is.
Okay, ma'am, I appreciate that. Well, you talked about 7 months of relentless parade of comparisons which have been made between you and your husband. The kind of sexism that you have faced, the kind of racism that you have faced. But you are also a seasoned IAS officer. You have held several very senior leadership positions, including the NIFT and several other ministries as well. Is this the first time that you're facing this, or is this something which you faced in the past as well? That it is one of those struggles that women consistently over the decades have been forced to endure and deal with?
No. So there always is that comparison, because it's comparisons between successors and predecessors and successors is common. But it becomes, the nature of that comparison becomes a little bit more pointed when it is from husband to wife.
Absolutely. Perhaps which is why you decided to take to social media when you wrote that heartfelt note about it. But it's interesting, the kind of reactions which have been coming in. Did you expect it, or were you surprised? Because you even had Congress's leader of opposition, V.D. Satheesan. He's reached out, he's talked about it, and he said, I salute you, and every word that you have said is heart-touching. Did you expect this kind of a support when you deleted and reposted that it's not just about the society, even politicians, even the leader of opposition, it's being discussed in the assembly as well?
I've been getting support from across the board. The opposition leader was kind enough to call me up as well. So that was actually very, very nice of him. But the fact remains that the response generally has been overwhelming. It has also there have been a lot of people who have said that they have faced similar experiences. There have also been people who have waxed poetic about the whole spiritual discourse of it, the political discourse of it, the social discourse of it. I mean, it's been extremely heartening to see just how much this seems to be resonating with people cutting across political, social, gender boundaries.
Absolutely, and which is why it's so important that we talk about it openly, because one of the things that you said, that when you were 4 years old, you went to your mother and you said, "Ma, can you put me back into your womb so that I can come out pretty and white?" That is the kind of stress that young girls need to deal with. It's not just adults. At that young age itself, you're being pressurized. There are these pressures to be fairer and whiter. Apparently, that makes you better. Why do we still think that? Really appreciate it, ma'am, for joining us here, the Kerala Chief Secretary, Sharda Muralidharan, here on Times Now. Let me go across to Kasturi Shankar, who's joining us, actor as well as an activist. We also have several of our viewers who are going to be calling in. Let me quickly get one of the viewers in. Kumar is calling us from Bengaluru. Go ahead, Kumar. What would you like to say?
Good evening, and I congratulate Mrs. Muralidharan for coming out. She's joined the ranks of the governors of Kerala who are intellectuals. I'd just like to say this to all of your viewers. This is not Indian. This is a very colonial baggage that we are carrying. The colonial masters that we had broke our society by tribe and non-tribe. Tribal meaning that we were not civilized. Second was race, and the third was non-English speakers and native mother tongue. And the fourth was, of course, our Varna system. I happen to have the distinction of working with Mr. Nelson Mandela in Africa. And I can tell you that they went to town, these colonial masters of Europe went to town all over the world. So it's not India that has this stigma of color. And the proudest moment was when Mrs. Draupadi Murmu was my representative as the president of this country. And I speak with a lot of passion. This is what we must. And the solution to this is only when our media breaks this down and stops, promoting the color of the girl.
Very beautifully put. Very beautifully put. Thank you so much, Kunar. There you have it. Our first viewer coming out, talking about the apartheid. It's not just India, it's across the world. Nelson Mandela faced it. He led a campaign against it. He fought all his life. But Kasturi Shankar, here's the problem. You're also part of a film industry. You have people like Nawazuddin Siddiqui. You have people like Bipasha Basu, Sushmita Sen. These are all people who've come out and talked about the pressures on them. And these are stars who have talent, who have the ambition, who have the grit, the glamour, and yet they too face it. That's just shocking at a different level.
It's actually continuous. First of all, let me say, very proud. I actually was at work and I have taken time off to be here because I wanted to show my solidarity and extreme pride. Hats off to Ms. Sharda Muralidharan. Just wanted to be on the same platform as her today to speak up for the overwhelming majority of beautiful women, the beautiful women of India, whose dusky skin is their signature, who all end up getting mind washed every day by people who want to sell some kind of product. It doesn't matter how beautiful you are on the inside, on the outside. You need a tube of ointment, of cream to make you confident, to make you get a job, to succeed in life. That kind of what do you call it? That kind of propaganda that's been thrown at us day in, day out, just to sell 70 rupees worth of a product.
Absolutely.
I think
But
that's where
Kasturi
the
Shankar, it's 70%, it's 60%, I beg your pardon, 60% of India, especially women, are still using it.
I'll tell you this, even today, the people that I look up to, my favorite actor is Bhanupriya. And she has, I'm not trying to take specifics here, but I'm just saying the most beautiful women that I personally know struggle with their skin color every day. And I have never understood why. I have been called a crow because I have a sharp nose and I'm of a dusky complexion myself. And there are men who have called me a crow. And when you look at them, you see, not everybody has the chutzpah to go out and say, "Are, aap to thodi Hrithik Roshan to nahi ho na." Look at you in the mirror before you call other people by their looks. And fortunately for me, I'm a beauty pageant winner and a successful model, was a successful model and a working actor. So body shaming doesn't work too much, but I see
It didn't stop you from achieving what you did, Kasturi.
No, in my industry, everything is under a microscope. And the first thing that you're thrown with is the color. I have lost movies to fairer actors because of color. They have told me that, you don't look rich enough. You don't look posh enough. There are ads today, or I can show you casting advertisements today where they ask for, you're not supposed to ask for fair anymore because it's illegal.
Okay. It's illegal to do that.
Yeah. So they ask for milky, rich, creamy complexion. These are the euphemisms that I can show you today. Casting ads coming.
It is appalling what you are telling me, Kasturi Shankar. If those are the standards of talent, those are the standards of meritocracy that we are looking at, that till date when you have casting directors putting out and saying those with milky complexions are going to be. But this perhaps is the deep-seated problem that we are still facing. Kasturi Shankar, appreciate you taking out. I really do appreciate you taking out time and speaking to us here on Times Now. Of course, we have Ma'am Sharda, who's spoken to us, beautifully articulated this entire problem. It's important to have these conversations. I'm very glad, ma'am, Ms. Muralidharan, that you may have deleted the post, you reposted it, because these are conversations we must have in the public space. Without a short break, don't go anywhere. We'll return in 2 minutes.